Good evening, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to give the economy meaning so that you can make the most appropriate decisions for yourself. Now, this is something that I believe everybody should take on, is a meaning in the economy that is best suited for you. Because if you are 18 years old or you are 80 years old, you are going to be making different decisions for yourself when it comes to looking at the information that is being presented to you. Most of the time, the information that is being presented is one-sided, is from a particular view. And most of the time, people are giving it a meaning in which that is very hurtful, impactful, negative. It's like a meaning that doesn't do them the justice that they need in order to put themselves in the best position they can. These people claim to be helpful. They are not helpful. They are pretty much being in a position that is not going to be necessarily the appropriate one for you. Not necessarily saying that they are putting out bad information. It's just the way that you are giving that information any kind of meaning is going to dictate how it is that you are going to conduct yourself. And it's very important that you give the meaning something that is going to be useful to you, not something that is going to be hurtful. Right? Because everything that you hear, everything that you see, everything that happens out there, it's all about the meaning you give it. Right. And it's very important when it comes to making decisions, when it comes to, investments, financial decisions like buying a house, maybe the job you take. Right. So number one is that information, how you get this information, the daily experiences, maybe from the job, from friends and family. This information that you take in is very important because this is all the information that you have to process. So if you are getting a lot of information from, say, maybe somebody at work who is, who believes or something that they are very aware of a particular situation and likes to talk about it. Maybe it's coming from just the job that you have in general, from the experiences of like maybe being, a log truck operator or something like that. There's different aspects of information that you're getting from this. Sometimes it could be pretty small on that kind of sense, but your job gives you a lot of information. A lot of it from friends and family. Like this is probably one of the biggest ones. Is like, we sit around joking at the bar. We're talking about information that we've heard. Family is very, big into sharing information that they have, come across, or some of their beliefs and stuff like that. So this information that you're getting from this particular directions is really important. Then of course, media, like what we do to ourselves, like we go to the media ourselves, like we turn on the news, we go to particular websites, we are choosing to get this information, and we are going in a particular direction that doesn't necessarily mean the information that we are choosing, but the information that is being presented there for us to then look at, right? So then it's like kind of almost being projected at you. The other place is shopping and how you spend your money, where you invest, like different things like that will give you information. If you spend a lot of time maybe shopping DoorDash, then you may not get the same information if you are actually going down to the grocery store and watching what's happening down there and looking at the shelves themselves and paying attention to some of the things that are actually occurring there. So there's information that comes in from all directions, just in your daily life, from the way that you are experiencing it. Right? Now, this information, how we deal with it, right? This is where it leads into what people find important, right? So we have to think about this again, right? Because we got this information, and now we got to find out whether or not this information is important to us. And so a lot of times it's the social aspect of where we are socially, as far as what we find important. Like it comes to like income level, like where it is that we have as far as income. Like obviously if you're somebody who's earning, $30,000 a year, you're probably not thinking about the same things or taking in information or doing things that somebody who's earning $150,000 a year or $250,000 a year. Like these two people are taking information and thinking about things that are much different, right? So really, this is, again, like the information that you're taking in is very important on giving it this meaning, right? So how to give, in order to put yourself in the most appropriate position. If you are somebody who is, again, looking at information that is maybe from your job position, or maybe because of kids. Like a lot of times because you have kids, you are looking at information that has a lot to deal with kids, especially if you're very involved or you have a lot of kids in your family or something like that, because of the schools and location that you are at. Churches, and again, like bars and stuff like that. I mean, I don't mean to like lump those two together, but I'm just kind of thinking of like gatherings, like places where you socially gather and talk a lot. And churches and bars are generally too, coffee shops, stuff like that. So these locations that you visit or are at, right? So your job, your because of your income level, the locations that you are generally being at, the social interactions that you are having down at the church, down all this information that you are gathering. Again, this is like, how it is that you are, taking this information in, again, is where it is that you are positioning yourself already, and how you are giving this stuff the meaning is a lot of times from the interactions that you are having at these particular places. Okay. Now, what you think about. This is like the key to this entire video. It comes down to what you think about. And now, if you are thinking about, I guess probably the best way to describe it is that if you are, again, like the 18-year-old or the 80-year-old, right? The things that you are thinking about are going to be far different. Like an 18-year-old is thinking about like, surfing, hanging out, doing stuff like that. Maybe not necessarily like, worried about retirement. 80-year-old, worried about retirement, not worried about surfing and hanging out, right? Maybe. I mean, maybe they're an 80-year-old who surfs. I'm not trying to say that the 80-year-olds don't surf, but I'm just saying that, generally speaking, probably most 80-year-olds are worried about whether or not their retirement is going to be secure. And if you're 18 years old, you're worried about whether or not surf's up. Okay. So again, like, the position in life that you are at will generally be the information that you are taking in, or will dictate what kind of information that you are going to be taking in. So again, like what you are thinking about a lot of times has to be from the age that you are living at this particular time, or the level in life that you just happen to be at. Like, I mean, again, like with the income levels. Okay. Position in life, age, your skills, right? So what you think about a lot of times has come down with your skills. Like if you are a plumber, right, you're probably thinking about construction, you're thinking about remodels, you're thinking about like, stuff that has to do a lot with your particular skill, your particular craft, or, your trade. So this comes down to whether or not you're, a lawyer, doing criminal law, or anybody out there, an artist, who's trying to, get hired to do murals or something like that. It all comes down to the things that you are thinking about is going to be a lot to do with the skills that you have and the position in life that you are at, right? So those hobbies that you have, even like a lot of times people are really big into like maybe working on cars or something like that. This is going to start dictating what it is that you are thinking about. So a lot of times what ends up happening is that as we are doing our daily lives, we are taking in this information, we are starting to use that information to generate a story in which that we believe the economy now exists, right? So if you are very politically minded, right, you are going to take a lot of political information and then start telling a story with all the political mindset involved with it. Because a lot of times politics have blame to go along with it, then you're going to find that, people who study deep into politics don't really necessarily look at politics as something that is a positive, but looks at it more as like, this is the reason why it's negative from their point of view, right? My point of view is accurate, maybe not necessarily accurate, but their point of view is very negative and it's very different, right? And so if you generally looking at politics, it's usually like this two-sided combated thing, right? The information that comes from it generally puts you on one side or the other. And so you are taking in information that is generally viewpointed from one side or the other, and not necessarily information that says, hey, this is like appropriate positioning for myself, right? By taking this information in this viewpoint of, hey, they are the reasonings why I'm doing this, or why my life is wrong or incorrect, or something is incorrect within the economy, right? So taking in the information that is relevant. This is so important, right? Taking information in that is relevant. Right? So when you take the information in, you have to ask yourself, is this information that I am listening to right now relevant to what it is that I am doing? Right? Or what is it within this information that is relevant to me? Right? Not although what is it going to do? What's the reasonings? This is going to cause, all this stuff. that none of that is important, right? The information that you are getting, it has to be relevant. So if they are talking, like if information is coming to you about a presumption of something that is going to take place in the future but hasn't occurred yet, why is that information relevant to you right now, right? Now, I know there's the idea that things could take place, right? That this information could lead to an event that could happen, and this is the preliminary information to be aware of whatever event that is occurring, right? But once you are aware of that, right? Once you are aware of that information, unless it actually happens, right? Then what more information is it that you are going to use this for? Because if you are going to take this information in, then you have to be using it for a benefit for yourself, right? Because this is what's going to end up happening, is that if you take this information in, it's just like, I'm going to use this information to protect myself, right? This is very critical to get. Like, I know this information that I'm putting out there is very, like, how they put it, esoteric, right? It's like people are probably kind of confused by it, but it's important to understand some of this stuff. Because what's going to end up happening is that as you take this information in, if it puts you into a defensive mode, if it puts you into, oh my gosh, I need to protect myself. Oh my gosh, look at all the stuff that is happening to me. What is going to happen to my retirement? I won't be able to start a business. I'll never be able to get a successful job. I'll never have a house. I'll never have a retirement. This information is really coming down hard on me, right? It's making my life difficult. Everything that I am looking at, I don't care. Maybe I don't even look at politics, but all the information I'm taking in is putting me in this position that I feel that I have to be very defensive, right? I have to get against, like, you know, what it is that I feel that is going to be being taken from me, so to speak. Okay. The problem with this thinking is that it puts you in a position in which that you are a defender. Right? You are defending yourself. You don't want to be a defender of your money, right? Now, sometimes you do want to be in a defensive position with your money, but you don't want to be a defender of your money, like saying, I am taking on information that gives me the ability to defend myself and my money. Because once you are doing that, what you are not doing is putting yourself in a position of being a receiver of money. This is very important to understand, because most people who take in most of the information, when I describe it the way I do, whether it's, you know, from your job, from your family, from all this other stuff, and you're getting all this information in, and the way you take that information in is going to then put you in a position of whether or not you are going to be a defender or receiver of money. Right? This is important to understand, because if you want to be a receiver of money, you have to play your part. You have to be in frame of being a receiver of money. It means you have to take in information that says this information is going to be useful to me and relevant for earning money or receiving money or, you know, increasing money in what fashion. I don't want to take information in that says I have to defend my money. I mean, maybe you do at times, but you want to be looking and searching and being in a constant, like, thought and in mental position of what it is that I need to do in order to be a magnet to money, right? And you don't chase it, right? You don't go like, man, I need to go over here to get it. I need to do this. I need to hard work like that. Sometimes you do need to work hard in order to acquire it. The amount of effort that you put into your business is going to be a reflection of what you get out of it. So sometimes it is important to work hard, right? To be very dedicated, to be, like, you know, out there committed to what it is that you are doing out there, right? So sometimes it's very important to do that, but it's not important to chase money, right? Remember that, because chasing money has put you in a position, it's put you in the frame of being somebody who is after money. Money is running away from you because you are chasing. If you are chasing, then it means that something is running from you, or right? Because you're chasing it. You don't want to be a chaser. You want to be a receiver. You want money to come towards you, right? So don't be a chaser of money, be a receiver of money. And when you take the information in, remember how it is that you are getting this information, right? You're getting it on a daily experiences from your job, right? You're getting it from the media. You're getting it from all the money that you are spending out there. Your income level is dictating where it is that you are getting this information, right? The position that you have at your job. I mean, are you a log truck driver? Are you a criminal lawyer? Are you a politician? I mean, all these different positions are going to be dictating what kind of information that you are taking in and what it is that you are going to do with this information. The people at church, you know, your kids, the schools, the bar, all this information that you take in is then going to be, you know, where it is that you are going to be positioning yourself. Remember this. This is very important. That's why, like, I always, like, anytime I take information in from something, I always say, okay, what kind of meaning can I give this? Does this have any meaning to me? I mean, this isn't necessarily important. Maybe it is important. I don't know. But I got to really look at this information for what it is and not necessarily take it in as, oh, man, I need to defend myself. But I take that information in, even though it might be critical, it might be weird, it might be out of place, or it might be very important. Whatever it is, how do I use this information to be a receiver of money? That's the important part of it, or a receiver of anything. Like, you can use this information, really, it doesn't matter about the economy. This works in life, and no matter what it is, right? I mean, you can use this same information really to, you know, find or attract a partner, right? I mean, I know that sounds kind of weird to think about it, but really it is. Be in a position in which that you can, you know, that you can receive this, right? Don't be a chaser. If you chase, it's going to run, right? You got to be a receiver of the of whatever it is that you want in life, and you got to position yourself. You got to play your part, right? If you don't know how to play your part, you got to learn to play your part. That's why you're not getting it, right? So learn what it is that you need to do in order to, you know, to be in the position that you want to be. I mean, if you want to play quarterback, you've never thrown a football, how are you going to play quarterback, right? You can't do that, right? You got to be able to play quarterback. So you got to take information in and practice and understand what it is to play, you know, to play that position. And it doesn't matter what it is in life that you're doing. That's how it works, right? And that's why it's important to give the meaning that of this information to be in the best appropriate position for yourself. I mean, again, like, I can't explain this enough. Like, information that you use that is scary, like a lot of times, you know, as a conspiracy theorist or something like that, we'll take in information that says, man, they are coming down and they're going to hurt you and they're going to destroy life and they're going to make life, you know, completely miserable for you and stuff like that. If you take in information like that, guess what? Life will present you with all the reasons why you have a life like that. It's weird. Think about it. There's people out there who will be very successful and become very wealthy in the next downturn. Why? Right? Because they had positioned themselves in the most appropriate spot. They weren't defenders of money. They were receivers of money. They knew how to do it, right? Now, if you don't know how to do it, and it seems like, you know, man, this is so hard to be in a position in which that you receive money. I mean, I think about it all day that I receive money. Are you a plumber? Are you learning the latest in the trade? Are you learning the skills of what it is that's most advanced for the most, you know, the newest plumbing techniques? I mean, plumbing's pretty simple as far as it goes. Water flows up, you know, crap goes the other way. I mean, but there's a lot of techniques, a lot of advancements, a lot of new parts, a lot of new ways of running water lines. I mean, there used to be a time when, you know, plumbers would work with lead and stuff, you know. I mean, it was like in order to fit pipes together. Nowadays, there's, you know, plastic hoses and, you know, crimp fittings and things that make it go, you know, much quicker. By taking on this information and making yourself a better plumber and figuring out what it is that you need to do in order to best position your business, right? And that's the information you take in. And even if you're looking at politics, you take in the political view, and then you think again to myself, wow, how do I use this information to, again, attract money? How do I best position myself to be a receiver of money? If I use this information to be in defense, if I use it as a negative, if I use it as a reason that my life is not working out the way that I had, you know, expected it to, then it's going to end up hurting you, because that's the position that you will end up, you know, the decisions that you make will be in defensive positions, not in positions in which that you can be a receiver. Because it all comes down to, again, like expectations. I know I'm just kind of rambling off. How long? Oh, geez, I'm 19 minutes into this. This is the longest video I've ever done. Okay. But it really comes down to reason and expectations, right? I'm gonna end it with this right here. The expectations that you have, right, that you have put out there. That's one of the reasons why everything has issues in your life, right? You have expectations of politics, expectations of your job, expectations of all this stuff that is out there, but very little expectations of yourself, right? You have they're the reasons why my life sucks. If he paid me more, I'd be better. If I had, this or these things. But the expectations are really inside, right? If you remove external expectations and you internalize this information and you say, I need to do this because nobody's going to be out there to help me, but if I help myself with this information and use this information, you are doing it deliberately. Remember, deliberate information, right? Ask yourself, I want to know about this. And then you go and search that information. If you turn on something and receive this information, you are not in search of information. You are not the one who is looking for it. You are receiving. And remember, you may be receiving information that you don't want, right? Information that's forcing you into defense. Information in a way that is not positioning yourself to be the most appropriate for you and your family. So it's very deliberate information that you get. That's going to be received, right? But you have to put yourself in a position in which that you can look for it. I want to know about this. Tell me, Google, about credit default swaps. Tell me about fractional reserve banking. Tell me about this. And now you have all kinds of information that comes up that you can now find whether or not is appropriate for you and the information that you want to receive. Because this is the information that you really need in order to conduct yourself. You hear something going on out there, don't go to media and say, tell me what it is that I need to know about. What you want to do is you want to go and find the reasons for yourself. Go and look for the information yourself and be deliberate about that information. I want to know this so that I can best position myself to be a receiver of money. I mean, even I myself, when I look at the information, I don't look at the information as a negative. I look at it as information that I can then use to make a video, that I can then use to best, make decisions for myself on where it is that I wanted to invest. A lot of times if you are... Boy, I am really rambling. I am sorry, guys. Okay, I'm going to cut this off real soon. Think about this. If you are heavily invested in gold, you are going to take in information that is probably most likely going to be one that says your gold position is going to explode and go up, right? But you are not going to take information in, or necessarily take information that says you have made the wrong decision and your gold price is going to go down. Right? So it's important to understand why it is that you are taking this information in. Do you want to confirm your own bias, right? Or do you really want information to understand? I've positioned myself in a lot of places. I don't really look at information as one that says, hey, this is going to hurt you or something like that. I just look at it as information. And then I say, hey, gold prices are down. Maybe I want to invest in gold. Or, I see liquidity crisis coming. Maybe I might want to get into cash and get out of debt as soon as possible, right? Just understanding some of these things. Wow. That was a ramble. Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.